Hello, my name's Darren Odell, and this is going to be my rundown of my 12 favorite albums. 12's an odd number. You'll find out during the countdown why I picked that. I've been watching a couple of accounts. I found probably YouTube searching for cool Uncle Tupelo stuff. The Digital Gramophone and the Long Cut. And I saw their rundowns of the albums that they did, their favorites, and I really enjoyed them. Had some similar tastes, but some different, and I just, as I'm known to do, running through my head, been wanting to like do my list. It's been a long time since I put that together, and so yeah, here it is. Starting at number 12 is this bad rascal, Merle Haggard, Back to the Bar Rooms, 1980. Just look at him. Look at this guy. That guy has made some mistakes. Our blue-eyed hero here. Anyway, back to the bar rooms. Where do you start? First off, and I say this considering superlatives are annoying, but it is the greatest drinking album of all time. It starts with a song he did for a movie. I think it was called Bronco Billy. I don't know. That's internet research probably tell me I'm wrong. But Misery and Gin. Then it closes with I Think I'll Just Stay Here and Drink. Mixed in is the title cut, Back to the Bar Rooms. I think I Don't Want to Sober Up Tonight is also on this. I don't think I know. That is on here. It is just an absolute flawless mix of Merle original songs and covers. I think for my taste, it is peak Merle, which for me that's kind of just the apex of country music, probably. His albums around this time, I love them all. Going Where the Lonely Go, Big City, and then the other one that was in the running, it was almost a flip between this one and then Serving 190 Proof. I kind of go back and forth between, but I think in the long run, Back to the Bar Rooms is one out. I think it's just it's so listenable. It just sounds so good, and it never doesn't want to be played. In thinking about Merle and the album, I recently, like most folks in this world, caught the Rolling Stone Top 500, and as usual, country's underrepresented. Now, I've got a bias, I get it, but I remember that the only Merle on the list was a box set. Like, that's what? It was like a career spanning box set that they just tossed in there. And I'm like, that doesn't count. I mean, not that there's rules to this nerdery, but I mean, come on, that's just lazy. And I wouldn't argue anyone who went with, the early, Merle 60s stuff. But for me, it's that late 70s, early 80s stuff. He could just do no wrong. And just also the reflections of I've heard them called midlife crisis albums and that kind of thing. I mean, these are grown men and grown women's songs, and he's dealing with it. I remember having a discussion with some friends recently, and it was like, I think one of the things, having always been tuned in and turned on by country music, is that there's just a whole lot of life lessons, not in what you should do, but the regret from what you shouldn't do. and this one's packed with that, and it's almost the guy in this, and I think with Merle, there's not much veil to it. It's Merle. He's leaning into it. I'm going to burn it down. That's my right. I don't want to sober up tonight. Just some of the songs, just Merle singing them just so smoothly. Easy come, easy go. Ever-changing woman. There's a one line in it. I always wear a t-shirt and a jacket just in case that woman's running hot or cold. Come on, man. Come on, Merle. I've always personally loved the tribute to his mentor, Tommy Collins, that he does, called Leonard. I love that song. I remember, I owe a lot of credit to my older brother Brian for pretty much all my music tastes. And he was like a collector and resold a lot of CDs for a long time, back before ye old streaming internet. And this album, which I think is pretty inarguably an all-time Merle album, even if it wouldn't be what someone would have as the top like mine. It is just an all-time great Merle record. Was out of print, like for CDs. You couldn't buy it new for like a decade. Music industry's crazy, man. Especially country. They will come and go on you. So yeah, that's it. I think that's going to start my list. That's what I've got to say about Back to the Barrooms. All right, we have ventured back to the barrooms with Merle at number 12. We'll sip on that wine. For that, we are now at number 11. The vast majority of the stuff on my list is pretty chalk. It's pretty well-known stuff. I would say of all the albums in my top 12 favorite, this is the most obscure, even though it's not really that obscure. And that is number 11, Post-War by M. Ward. Post-War, M. Ward, 2006. The time this album came out, I almost entirely went backwards for everything I listened to. I had a certain set of artists that I liked, and then I would just want to devour any and everything that they did. That year, I remember just feeling like I was super out of the loop for any new music. Unless it somehow came across my radar, once again, before prevalent streaming on the internet, I just didn't know about it. I would be clueless. So what I decided to do was to go to 7 or 8 publications that I liked, or at least somewhat respected the reviews from. I would take their year-end best of list and then pick 2 and then give them the full treatment. Not fight my impulse to learn everything I could about them just from the reviews. Buy them, buy at the time the CD, give them the full listen. And the 2 I chose were Post-War and then the Decemberist Crane Wife. I love both the records, but Post-War is the one that has stayed true. I remember doing it and then putting this record on and thinking, oh my God, it's like everything new, this elite and this amazing, and have I been this clueless? Didn't turn out to be that good, but it's a habit that I've stuck with that's really turned up some great records and turned me on to new stuff and kept me at least more fresh than I was. With this record, I was stunned by the sound of the whole thing, with the way it seemed like an intimate solo record that some guy did out of his basement, while at the same time sounding big and orchestral. And it had these big Roy Orbison style crescendos at the end of songs. Recent record I heard by is it Perfume Genius? Say once again, new music. I think it's him. He has kind of the same flair on some of his productions. but just the sound of it was murky and mysterious, and the songs are so good. They're so good. It has my all-time favorite Daniel Johnston cover. I like Daniel Johnston a lot. I'm not like any kind of hardcore guy, but the To Go Home on this is just so good. He gets Nico Case to sing with him. And then probably what is his most popular song, the song that's most streamed, I'm sure, Chinese Translation. Just the flow of the record is really cool, and it just sounds cool. Just really great songs. And let me see, I'm thinking like Requiem and I Hope He's Right in the Head, the title track. Just a really cool record. That's really all I got to say about that. So, number 11, Post-War by M. Ward. All right, we just spent some time with Portland's M. Ward, and we're going to stay out west with what I feel is a criminally underrated all-time record, and that is Gunfighter Ballads and Trail Songs from Marty Robbins, 1959. This wild man, so the internet says, recorded this entire album in one 8-hour session. Those guys were just different back then. The songs are so cool. They'll always be cool. They'll always come back around and sound like a Tarantino soundtrack or a Coen Brothers soundtrack. For you Breaking Bad fans, you know the pivotal moment when Eisenberg comes back west and he finds the cassette tape of this album and puts it on. I believe that episode's name was Felina. I'll make an argument about this record that might ruffle some feathers. I would say that you could argue that Gunfighter Ballads and Trail Songs has the best combo of side openers ever. Yeah, that's right, ever. Big Iron and El Paso. Come on, that's tough. That's big boy stuff. I remember when I got into this album, it's been a recent riser on my list. I want to explain a little later how I got back to it. But when I was reading about it, it kind of blew my mind that Marty Robbins wrote both of those tracks. That's in country, that's rare, and I would have just never guessed that he did both of them. He did. What a performance. His singing, the feel of the songs, that Grady Martin guitar that just runs up and down beautifully, caressing all the tracks. Just what a cool record. How I came across it was I've always enjoyed his Western songs. Anytime I'd come across them, YouTube diving or whatever. And I decided on a whim that I would order this box set. Now I'm about to super nerd out. It's Bear Family. For country fans, you know all about Bear Family. They do the best gathering of old country stuff and putting it together in box sets. But this was actually a vinyl set. It's Marty Robbins in the Wild West, and it's 5 LPs, and it's just stocked full of nothing but Marty Robbins Western songs. And they're not ordered specifically chronologically. It's kind of put together in a way to try to have a little bit of a narrative. Like he actually did a 3-song trilogy about that El Paso character. I really love the last one. It's like really weird. It's like it's called El Paso City, and it's like reincarnation, and Marty Robbins is wondering if he was the guy in the El Paso song who shot down the dude for the love of Felina. Anyway, so I got into that, and then I said, okay, what the genesis of all of this. And I went back to this record and okay, I'm going to try to put out of my mind my pre-existing knowledge of Big Iron and El Paso and the songs On a Cool Water In the Valley, 168, just all of them. And like, I'm going to just take this on in its due respect as an album, and man, it doesn't let up. It's fantastic, and I feel really good about it kicking off my top 10. Number 10, Gunfighter Ballads and Trail Songs, Marty Robbins, 1959. All right. We just rode out of a town in the west, put another notch on our gun, put another notch on the big iron on our hips. At number 10, after you do something like that, you better just go on and get to the big boys. You better start bringing out the big artillery. And that is where we're at number 9. What say you, Bob? Is it time? Yeah, it's time. Number 9. Bob Dylan, Love and Theft, 2001. 9/11, 2001 to be exact. Part of the kind of ghost and modern day legend of this record. Time Out of Mind seemed to come out of left field and blow all our Bob loving brains out, me included. But Love and Theft for me is the gold standard of latter day Dylan. Give Rough and Rowdy Ways a little more time. The guy's just ridiculous. Just an incredibly consistent, great late career thing, and it is all wrapped up in this album. The skip jump blues, the swagger. Old Bob's got a swagger about him, kind of like a knowing, a braggadocio, an old blues man braggadocio that you believe. It's not like a young hip hop artist trying to sell you on something. It's not. This guy's toting that detonation. Just a bad rascal. Mississippi, Summer Days, Moonlight, Cry a While, High Water for Charlie Patton. It just goes back and forth with just these outright modern day blues classics. Summer Days, that is an all-time listenable Bob Dylan jam. That's a jam. It just comes out on fire. And yeah, I believe he produced it under his producer pseudonym of his own life pseudonym, Jack Frost. And I think that this is the record he's always wanted to make. Now, trying to guess actually what Bob Dylan ever thinks is a fool's game, which is right next to his catalog, the thing I love most about him. I mean, who knows anything about the guy? You read Chronicles, his autobiography, and it's enthralling and so good, and then at the end you're like, I know less about this dude. But Love and Theft, man, is just so cool. I have worn it out time and time again. The one thing I will say is interesting, being that this is a response to like Vinyl Record Lover blog. It's not. This is like an interesting kind of side topic on this. I am partial to records on vinyl that was the intent of the end product. And I don't think Bob necessarily takes a lot of time in like his considerations of the vinyl he puts out with his later records. And it's always a little off-putting for me when it's like this one. It's 2 LPs and there's just 3 songs on each side. Nitpicking, but it does take a little away from me. But vinyl, CD, streaming, I don't know if this ever came out on cassette. Whatever format you want to bring, this is ready for the test. Just a missile. just a missile. And it's impossible that the same guy who did all that 60s Zenith stuff backed it up. I spent too many nights like considering that I would listen to anyone who argued that the latter-day trilogy of Time Out of Mind, this one, and Modern Times stands beside the one, you know, bringing it, Highway 61 on Blonde on Blonde. And just that someone could even say that and not immediately get dismissed reflects the impossibility of my guy's career. And this is it. The pinnacle of latter-day Dylan, as of now anyways. 9/11/2001's Love and Theft by Bob Dylan.